Hello and welcome back to Music Wars. I'm Steve, your host, and we're back with part four of Memories of Elvis. I know you guys are enjoying it. It shows in the views and the comments. Like I've said before, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so. We're a little over 750 subscribers and trying to get to 1,000 by the end of summer. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate everyone sticking with me and staying on and enjoying the music and the information and everything else. We're jumping right on into this and once again going full screen. Here is part four of Memories of Elvis.
Colonel and one of his staff were driving from Palm Springs, where Colonel's wife was staying with her nurses, back into Los Angeles because Colonel had to go to the office on Monday morning. It was Sunday afternoon, and they turned on the radio, and President Nixon was speaking from the Wall of China. He had opened negotiations with China. And Colonel said, you know, this is making history. This is incredible. Everyone around the world is watching this. And then he said, Elvis is a worldwide star. He should be the first to sing via satellite so that everyone can see him at the same time. This will be the biggest audience he ever has.
So this was a big, big challenge for Elvis. I mean, doing a live performance, you had to be live, and you come on at a certain time, and it cuts you off at a certain time. So you got to finish the show within that 58 minutes, wherever it is. And it was a big challenge. But you know, it was a great challenge for him. He took the challenge. If you saw the show, he looked so handsome, good looking. He got himself in great shape for that. And he did that show just like, and we all figured he'd be a nervous wreck. He went out there and just did it. And he did a great job, and he was right on the moment when it was supposed to be over with. He finished the show. It was a very, very exciting moment for all of us. I mean, we didn't know what to expect and how he was going to do it, and he did it. He did it right the way it was, as we know. A billion people around the world seen him live.
It was so amazing because we had to be right on. I mean, just right straight on. And we did this show for about a little better than an hour, which went around the world. And then afterwards, we stayed and we did some other songs that they edited into the special that they put here in the United States on the network, you know, like, I don't know, about a month later or something like that. And it was quite an experience.
Hawaii was a thrill. Hawaii was a fantastic thrill. I said to the band just before we started, Marty Pacetto was counting it down. I said, when I drop my hands, I said, this is the first time this first note is going to go. I mean, we're going all over the world, you know, with a picture and a note, and those guys just played. That show was, my guys were tight. Everybody was tight.
We never really quite understood the importance of what we were doing until later on, and they told us how many countries with the percentage of TV sets were turned on and this and that, and it was boggling. And we'd probably been a lot more nervous if we'd really understood, but it was a live simulcast of the show that we did, you know. And it was a special time because we had a week before and with not a whole lot of rehearsing, because there again, he wanted it to be spontaneous, but we had time to hang out and relax, get in the aloha mood.
Well, I thought it was great. I missed it. That was their last tour, the last thing they did, that show in Hawaii. And then I joined. I got the job with Stamps right after they came back from Hawaii doing that show. But I thought it was great. It was and it was very representative, I thought, of who he was and what he does. I joined the Stamps. This was in 1974 when I got the call to come and audition and got the job. Prior to going to Vegas, which was our first show and my first meeting with him, we were out touring, doing gospel shows, singing in auditoriums and churches and wherever the group was booked. And then we go to Vegas. So we're in Vegas, and first day there, and Ed comes to me and said, "Listen, at 6 o'clock we've got to go upstairs to the main ballroom upstairs at the Hilton there in Vegas, and we're going to have a rehearsal before we do the show." So this was going to be my first meeting, and so I look at Ed and I said, "Ed, what do you all normally wear when you rehearse?" Because I mean, I'm green, I don't know anything. He said, "Oh, you're fine. Just wear what you got." Well, what I had on was, for whatever reason, there was this fad going around where people were wearing, even girls were wearing bib overalls, you know, the farmer type overalls, and they were like the cool thing to do. So that's what I was wearing, and I thought I was really hip and cool, you know. So I'm up, we finally get up to rehearsal, and all the band, our group and Sweet Inspirations, and everybody's there that's connected with the show. And I'm standing there, I'm scared to death really, because I don't know what to expect. And in a few minutes, these double doors that come into the room, they just come flying open. And in comes Elvis with 3 bodyguards on each side, you know, and just comes and makes this huge entrance, and I'm going, wow. And it just blew me away. And so I'm standing there just amazed, and he's going around the room speaking to everybody, hugging them, you know, "How you doing? It's good to see you again," because it's been, like I said, several months. And so I'm standing there with the Stamps, with Ed, and Elvis finally makes it around to where we are. And he grabs Ed and gives him a big old hug, you know, and I'm standing there watching that. And then Ed goes, "E, I want you to meet our new bass singer." And he kind of, "How you doing?" kind of nods at me. And then he takes Ed, he's still got his arm around Ed's neck, and he kind of pulls him over just about 3 feet away from me and says where I can hear him. He says, "Ed, where in the hell did you get the effing farmer?" I mean, just like that, and I heard every word of it. "Where did you get the effing farmer?" And then he goes around the rest of the room pointing me out to everybody else, you know, and of course he's laughing, and everybody, so everybody's gonna laugh, you know, and I was a laughing stock of the entire tour, man. And I mean, I felt about that big. And I just knew that I was going to be on the next plane out of there, that I had made such a bad impression. What I didn't know, and what they failed to tell me, was he actually hated overalls and anything like that, because when he was a kid, any of the pictures you see when he's a small kid, that's what he's wearing. And he vowed and declared he would never wear jeans or overalls. And if you think about it, you never saw him in any jeans or anything like that. But then a few days after that, we all went out to the airport one night after the show just to see his new plane. He'd gotten this big plane, Lisa Marie. That's what they call the plane. And so we were all sitting on the plane in the middle of the night, not going anywhere, just sitting there. And I'm up at the front, and Elvis is way back in the back where he had a big conference-like table. He's sitting back in his chair, and I don't know, I guess he sensed that I was, you know, really not feeling well. And so then in front of everybody, I can't remember what he said, but he yelled up to the front of the plane and said, "Hey, you know, welcome, man, you're doing a good job," this kind of deal, and really calmed the waters for me. And from that point on, you know, I began to settle in. So, but I'll never forget that, and I still have those overalls. I couldn't throw them away. It was like, you know, I want to keep these things for just the nostalgia of it. But man, sure wish I'd have never worn them.
No one expects an addiction to happen, but once you get into it, you're stuck. You're just stuck. The pills or whatever it is take over. It can be eating, it can be smoking, it can be drinking. He was not a drinker. But you always feel you can handle it. And we always felt Elvis could handle it. Looking back, we can see where he was deteriorating. But at the time, when you see everyone daily, see someone daily, you don't notice a deterioration. And we all believed he was an awesome person. He said he could handle it. Not that every effort wasn't made to stop it. Everyone who was with him and was with Colonel took a turn trying. But unless someone wants to stop an addiction, it's not going to stop. And there were no Betty Ford clinics then. There were no clinics for this, to handle this kind of thing. A person just had to do it on their own. And that's tough, and in his case, it turned out to be impossible.
I think he went through, the divorce thing and a lot of the prescription things, the drug thing had to affect his moods. I could see too many mood swings, too many changes from night to night for it not to affect how he performed. But we did our best to be there to support, no matter what kind of mood he was in, to try to level it out, so to speak.
I saw him when he was obviously on whatever he was taking, the pills, and he was on stage and he was slurring his words and not completely with it. But I can only think of maybe a couple of times in touring, a couple of shows where I felt like, boy, I wish he wasn't singing tonight. He's not himself, and it was obvious. But the rest of the time, and we literally did hundreds of shows between Vegas and touring. I mean, hundreds of shows. He was pretty much right on every night.
I get a lot of questions about Elvis. We all think he was going to die because he was having his problems. I said, no. I never thought he would die the way he did. I really didn't. We always had a feeling that he was going to wake up one day and say, I got to clean myself up. What am I doing to myself? And we were always waiting for that to happen because we knew he could do it if he wanted to. We really did. And as we know, it didn't happen. So it was tough for everybody. And there's all these stories about why we didn't do something. We couldn't do a darn thing, no matter what anybody tells you. You can't do something. You can't make him go and clean himself up. He's a grown man. He has to do it himself. And so when that happened, when he passed away on August 16, 1977, never, ever expected it. It was a shock for all of us.
Hope you enjoyed this part of Memories of Elvis. We're getting into some that's maybe not quite so comfortable for all of us, but the truth is the truth. Whether we want to see that or not. It's a very sad situation, but that's just the way it is. We'll be back with our next episode, which I believe will be part 5, and that will finish up this particular introspective of Elvis, and we'll move on to the next thing. Hope you're continuing to enjoy it. I appreciate you being with me. Until our next episode, so long and God bless from Music Wars.